If you have been anywhere near the internet lately, you have probably heard the name Claude being thrown around. Claude this, Claude that, Claude Code, Claude for Work, the newest Claude model. And if you are like most of the business owners I talk to, your reaction was probably somewhere between mild curiosity and complete confusion about why anyone is making such a big deal about it. So today I am going to tell you exactly what Claude is, what all the buzz is actually about, and most importantly, whether any of it matters for your business. If you have ever seen a big AI announcement and thought, okay, but what does that mean for me? Drop a wave in the comments. That is exactly what we are here to figure out together. I am Sabrina Prouty. I spent 30 years inside Fortune 100 healthcare companies, translating complicated things into language real people could actually use. That is still what I do, just for a different audience now. So let me translate this one for you. First, what is Claude? Claude is an AI assistant similar to ChatGPT made by a company called Anthropic. You can have a conversation with it, ask it questions, give it problems to think through, ask it to write things for you. It works the same way you would expect any AI assistant to work. If you have used ChatGPT, Claude feels familiar. If you have never used either, think of it as a very smart assistant you can talk to about anything related to your business. That is it. That is Claude at its simplest. A thinking partner you can have a conversation with. Now here is where it gets a little confusing, because lately you may have seen different versions of Claude mentioned, all with slightly different names. There is Claude the AI assistant, which is what I just described. You go to claude.ai, you start a conversation, you use it like you would use ChatGPT. This is the one that is relevant to you. Then there is Claude Code. This is a tool built specifically for software developers. It helps people who write code do their jobs faster. If you are not a developer, and most of my audience is not, this one is not for you. You can safely ignore it. Then there are versions of Claude built for large enterprise companies and tech teams that want to build their own tools. Again, not for you unless you have a tech team working behind the scenes. The reason the headlines feel confusing is that they do not usually explain which version they are talking about. So it all blurs together into one big announcement that feels like it should matter, but you cannot quite figure out why. Here is the simple breakdown. One version of Claude is for you. The rest are for developers and large tech teams. So should you use Claude? Honestly, yes. I use it myself, and it is one of the tools I recommend most often to the business owners I work with. But instead of just telling you it is useful, let me show you what that actually looks like in a real business situation. Say you are a bookkeeper with 12 clients, and you are spending hours every week answering the same questions over and over. Things like, when is my quarterly filing due? Or, can you explain this charge on my statement? You are good at your job, but the back and forth is eating your time. You could open Claude and say, I run a small bookkeeping business, and I spend a lot of time answering repetitive client questions. Help me write a simple FAQ document I can send to new clients that covers the most common things they ask about. Claude will ask you a few questions. What kinds of questions do you get most often? What does your onboarding process look like? Who are your typical clients? You answer those honestly, and within one conversation, you have a draft FAQ that sounds like you, covers the real questions your clients ask, and saves you from typing the same explanation for the 100th time. That is one afternoon of your time back every week. Or say you are a life coach trying to figure out whether to raise your prices. You have been going back and forth on it for weeks, and you can't land on an answer. You open Claude and say, I am a life coach. I currently charge this amount. My clients get these results. I have been in business for 3 years, and I am trying to decide whether to raise my rates and by how much. Help me think through this. Claude will not just give you a number. It will ask about your capacity, your client retention, your market, what is driving the hesitation. And by the end of that conversation, you will have thought through the decision more clearly than you have in 3 weeks of going around in circles on your own. That is the thing about Claude that people don't expect. It doesn't just answer questions, it helps you think. And for business owners who are doing everything alone, having something that thinks alongside you is genuinely invaluable. Here is what makes Claude worth trying specifically, especially if you have only ever used ChatGPT. Claude tends to give longer, more thoughtful responses. It is particularly good at nuanced decisions, writing in a natural tone that sounds like a real person, and holding a long conversation without losing track of what you said earlier. If you have ever felt like ChatGPT gave you a response that was technically correct but felt a little generic, Claude is worth trying as a comparison. The best way to start is the same way I always recommend. Go to claude.ai, create a free account, and bring it one real thing you are working through in your business right now. Not a test prompt, something you actually need to figure out. See what happens. Here's the filter I use every time there is a big AI announcement. I ask one question. Is this for people who build technology, or is this for people who use technology to run their business? If it is for builders, I note it and move on. If it is for users, I pay attention. Most of what you are seeing about Claude right now is for builders. The part that matters for you is simpler and quieter, and it has been available for a while. It is just a really good thinking partner that you can start using today for free. That is what I want this channel to be for you. Every time there is a big AI story that sounds important that feels confusing, I am going to break it down exactly like this. Is it for you or not? And if it is, here is how to actually use it. If that sounds useful, come join us in the Sensible Practice community. It is free, and we talk through this kind of thing every month in plain language with women who are figuring it out alongside you. Link is in the description at school.com/sensiblepractice. And if you want to talk through how tools like Claude could specifically help your business, that is exactly what the free discovery call is for. Link is below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.